We can agree that if the revolution of Thomas Sankara had lasted, even if only 10 years, Burkina Faso could have been put on the way of development. Ghana, which was a bankrupt country and without perspective, was put on the way of development through political visionary of President Rawlings, through the establishment of a strong state. To build a strong state, we will have to be able to foil the trap designed by the dominators to make our state malleable to weak state. Among these traps, there are three that should be analyzed. These are the so-called respect of human rights, the so-called respect for freedom of expression, and the new colonial institutions of our modern state. It is obvious that if the right of a man was unknown in Africa, the Europeans would not have come here and found kingdoms and societies organized with brilliant civilization. Pre-colonial African art dazzled the colonizers to the point that he plundered the work of art to furnish his museums and the saloons of aristocrats and bourgeois. Africa, wake up. Africa, rise up. Africa without borders. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We talk and we will speak to contribute to the awakening of conscience so that never again the people allow themselves to be fooled by lawless adventurers and merchants of illusions. That said, I would like to ask a question. What does the flag that we have just seen represent? The flag is a unified symbol. It is the symbol of unity for a people, for a cause, the national cause. The flag reminds us every time, whenever, before anything else, there is the nation to defend and to promote. The flag reminds us that special interests, particular interests, supporters' interests must be able to combine with general interests. Failing special interests must fade away for the triumph of the general interests and the national cause. I have this habit of saying, it is better to be poor in a rich and strong state than rich in a poor and weak state. There are always rich and strong men in a poor and weak country. Some of them have found their limit. It is enough to cite the case of General Manuel Noriega, the all-powerful president of Panama of the years 1980. In December 1989, when the Americans decided to cut him, they were going to capture him in his palace. His flight to a diplomatic station was only a short lived for him. The Americans ended up obtaining his extradition. As well as in Haiti, General Raoul Silas overthrew President Jean-Bertrand Aristide in 1994. The Americans ended up giving him an ultimatum to leave power. In the face of his refusal to comply, the American army dislodged his palace. He saved himself by taking refuge in Panama. These strong and rich men live in a poor and weak country, the opposite of men, particularly rich, but who presided over the destiny of a strong state, was able to cope with all attempts to recovery or destabilization. It is enough to cite the case of Cuba, a small country a few steps from the United States, who has resisted all the assaults of Americans. We can also cite the case of little Nicaragua, which stood up to the almighty America in the years 80, We could also cite the case of Venezuela, of Hugo Chavez through Nicolas Maduro, and Iraq since the Islamic Revolution in 1979 successfully faced all the challenges, attempts to destabilization. A strong state is therefore a guarantee of security and stability of institutions and a factor of development. The current poverty of black Africans is due to the attempt to corporalize leaders and destabilize regimes. We can agree that if the revolution of Thomas Sankara had lasted, even if only 10 years, Burkina Faso could have been put on the way of development. Ghana, which was a bankrupt country and without perspective, was put on the way of development through political visionary of President Rawlings, through the establishment of a strong state. To build a strong state, we will have to be able to foil the trap designed by the dominators to make our state malleable to weak state. Among these traps, there are three that should be analyzed. These are the so-called respect of human rights, the so-called respect for freedom of expression, and the new colonial institutions of our modern state. It is obvious that if the right of a man was unknown in Africa, the Europeans would not have come here and found kingdoms and societies organized with brilliant civilization. Pre-colonial African art dazzled the colonizers to the point that he plundered the work of art to furnish his museums and the saloons of aristocrats and bourgeois without a social organization developed for the respect of each social category. Such results could not have been achieved. Every day, human rights has become an instrument of control. These world companies are the service of the West. It allows the West to have the guarantee that these local servants, some of which are directly financed by the West, others indirectly through diverted procedures, we have all the latitude to carry out their subversive activities for its own benefit in our countries, which activities aim to infiltrate state apparatus and weaken our state for the benefit of the West. In our countries, fundamental rights are not yet satisfied. Human rights consist of, first, of giving food to the population, to treat them, instruct them, to house them decently. The West does not see it right to be satisfied in our countries, even then, which he regularly throws in the trash its agricultural and industrial overproduction, only to maintain high demand prices. What concerns him is only the assurance that these elements infiltrated our societies and continue their work of agitation and of sap for its own benefit with complete impunity. When the same rights are violated in the West, this is passed over in silence, or at most described as simple measures to maintain the order. Everyone knows that in the United States, any person presumed to be a threat to national security is eliminated without any other form of trial. No one would talk about violation of human rights. All over the world, the United States gives itself the right to kill, to intervene as soon as they consider this necessary for their interests. We can recall here the cases of Panama and Haiti, but also those of Cuba in 1901 and in 1961, without forgetting Vietnam, Iran in 1980, Iraq and Afghanistan more recently. France is not left out. She who sponsors and continues to sponsor coups d'etat in Africa, mainly in French-speaking Africa, without any regard for the loss of human life, without forgetting its support for terrorism in the Sahel, which has caused thousands of victims and continuing to mourn our populations. In France itself, we have seen how in November, December 2018, the yellow vests were still repressed in France, following the murder of young Noir by the police. In 2023, the little people of France rise up. It was violently repressed with scenes of torture worthy of another age. As it is France, no one raised the slightest protest. No one spoke about violation of human rights, even in our own countries. Already, conditioned media have not seen the violation of human rights in our countries, especially in our countries under Western control, and more particularly under the control of France. The regimes in place can murder, torture. We will never speak violations of human rights. In Guinea, in Ivory Coast, in Senegal, citizens who demonstrated against the unconstitutional mandate were massacred with the blessings of the West. More recently, oppositions were massacred in Chad on several occasions without the West finding fault. Not far from Burkina Faso, unique trials were organized and unnamed convictions were pronounced. The oppositions were thrown in prison for years. The West did not see or hear anything. No one speaks of violation of human rights. What hypocrisy! All that for human rights. The same goes for this other house of freedom of expression. For the West, these local servants infiltrated in our society have the right to express themselves as they hear it, without any restrictions or regulations. Who also wants to call this into question as soon as Western government and media get on the high horse and grow negatively the facts and brandish the threats. The embassies, the NGOs in the West, and international organizations are involved to vilify, intimidate, and repress. However, do not violate freedom of expression as much as the Westerners. Africa, wake up. Africa, rise up. Africa without borders. Africa, continental free trade area. The time is now. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.